Well, them is his titles. It's all respect. Like I told everybody for a long time. I'm like, man, me and Canelo. I got a ton of respect for Canelo. I'm a fan of Canelo. I always been a fan of Canelo, and I wanted to be the one to give him back his belts. I didn't want my team to hand him back his belts. I wanted to be the one to give him back his belts.
Yeah. The only thing I told him was that you could not give Canelo the center of the ring. And earlier you gave it to him, but then he started outboxing him and outsmarting him with it, and he started taking it back at the right time. So he studied his film very well. He knew when to fight, when to move left and when to move right. It was a very smart fight. He completely frustrated Canelo.
The only thing I wonder is if Crawford was born and made in a laboratory, in a test tube, because that was science. That was pure science. No two ways of...
The stadium just recently saw history. The world was shocked when Crawford beat Canelo in a fight that no one thought would go this way. The air feels electric. As boxing moves into a new age, the professionals are shocked and people are feeling a lot of different emotions. Crawford's dad stepped up in the middle of everything. He also said, "I knew my son was that good." He spoke with calm confidence instead of alarm when he did so. They had the years of sweat, the long nights, and the faith that only parents could have. It served as a warning that becoming great takes time. It is being built one brick at a time. In that one line, he summed up a lifetime of trust and a win that changed the boxing story forever. Roy Jones stepped in just as things looked like they were under control. His words were backed up by the authority of someone who has lived in the ring and knows greatness when he sees it.
Beat that brother. He's going to be up there somewhere close to the top 5, I promise you.
It was not a casual comment. This was a stamp from a very smart boxer. From Roy Jones. It made Crawford's win possible. It wasn't hype. Yes, it was praise. It was the kind of honor that has stood the test of time. Crawford's win was more than just a win. Crawford's win set a standard for competing with the best. The subject has now changed to his place among the immortals. Then came the comments of Gareth A. Davies, a famous sports expert known for breaking down games in great detail. His answer showed both awe and authority, showing how big what had just happened was.
Absolutely, I picked Canelo because I thought he was so much bigger, almost three weight divisions above him. But the majesty and poise of Terence Crawford's brilliance tonight was to the fore. I had it 9 rounds to 3. I can just about see 8 rounds to 4, the 16-12 score. I cannot see 7 rounds to 5 from 2 of the judges. Terence Crawford tonight, speed of thought, speed of hands, speed of feet, took it to Canelo when he had to. Canelo had no answers to him. For me, Terence Crawford moves up to the number 1 pound for pound spot in the sport right now, above Naoya Inoue, above Alexander Usyk. He is incredible. To become historically a 3-weight undisputed world champion, it just beggars belief what he's managed to do. He was immense tonight. He took it with humility. There was a little bit of emotion afterwards, but from first to last, I have to say it, Canelo did not have the answers for him. So let's take nothing away from Crawford. It was all of his doing.
Oh, absolutely.
He was the one that made Canelo look older, slower, and without the right...
It wasn't just praise. It was a technical choice that was made correctly. Every observation showed that Crawford was the best. During the battle, Crawford showed how smart he was. From an experienced eye, it wasn't flattery. It was fact cut from the truth of being in the ring. It made Crawford's performance look like a masterpiece instead of a surprise. That moment made it clear that he was at the top of the boxing hierarchy. Then Adam Catterall came along and broke it down very clearly. His perspective was less emotional and more honest, and he laid out step by step how Crawford beat a champion.
He schooled him. He schooled him from start to finish. Listen, it was cagey at the start, don't get me wrong. There was a little bit of nip and tuck, there was a little bit of downloading the data, seeing what the situation is. Interesting that for the full 12 rounds, he only boxed in southpaw. No sweet shitting tonight, stayed in southpaw. A little bit of downloading of the data, and then just gradually went through the gears up to round 4, and that's when he started to put his foot down. Everything Canelo did tonight, Bud Crawford had an answer for.
From bell to bell, every word made Crawford's power stand out. It wasn't just about getting through rounds. That was telling the story of the fight. Adam's breakdown showed that the performance was full. Nothing was unanswered, and there were no holes in the story. It really taught him a lot, and it made Crawford's reputation even bigger. Adam didn't end there. He looked into what made this event stand out even more. His words were so full of raw emotion that it was like he had just seen history.
Only that, if you go back and watch the previews that we did throughout the course of the week, we said that this is a game of IQ. There's going to be movement within the fight. You're going to have to answer different types of questions and bring different types of game plan. Crawford did that. He was able to do it backwards. He was able to do it forwards. He could trade in the pocket, catch the stuff, and then counter. He was absolutely magnificent. Listen, I know this is raw and we've only just walked out the stadium, right?
10 minutes ago.
And when the dust settles on this, we'll probably have better answers and better thought processes. And I'm sure people watching this will get stuck into the comments and maybe say what I'm about to say is quite outlandish. That might be the single best performance that I have ever witnessed live. It was absolutely tremendous. You've got to take into consideration the weight jump. This is a man that was champion at 135, 140, 147, and obviously recently at 154. But let's be honest, he even jumped up to 154 pounds for that. To go then up to 168 and take on the former pound-for-pound #1 king on a Mexican holiday weekend in Las Vegas.
This examination was not done solely for its own sake. This was a way to show respect for a performance that pushed the limits of fighting. It was like seeing a masterpiece come to life when Crawford was able to change, counter, and take charge of any situation. After seeing Adam's reflection, I felt like I had just seen something special, a fight that would go down in history as one of the best shows of skill. Adam broadened the focus, taking in the bigger picture of Crawford's growth. From his point of view, the victory seemed even more important.
Weight jump. This is a man that was champion at 135, 140, 147, and obviously recently at 154. But let's be honest, he even jumped up to 154 pounds for that. To go then up to 168 and take on the former pound-for-pound #1 king on a Mexican holiday weekend in Las Vegas and managed to beat him on the cards when the judges tried to do him. Mate, it is out of this world what Terence Crawford just did. And he needs all the flowers in the world. He needs all the praise in the world. And I don't think you're wrong, mate, by saying he's the pound-for-pound #1. It's an ever-moving list. That performance alone deserves to put him right at the top of the...
He told everyone about the weight gain, the odds that were stacked against them, and how this was going to be the best weekend in sports. It wasn't only about defeating Canelo. It was all about beating the odds. Adam's comments portrayed Crawford as more than just a winner. They made him look like he made history. With it, the triumph established its place as one of the sport's greatest achievements and deserved every award and flower. The next one was Paulie Malignaggi, who set the tone for his breakdown with a statement. His comments did not simply describe the fight. They presented the night as a historical event.
Terence "Bud" Crawford makes history. I mean, that's the only way I can really start out this video. A lot to unpack on an amazing performance by Terence Crawford. Wasn't the most exciting fight, but really it was about Bud Crawford. It was about what he accomplished tonight, and it was about, becoming the first undisputed world champion in the 4-belt era in 3 different weight classes. Really, and the way he did it, and the class that he showed all throughout the preparation, and just flawless. I mean, Terence Crawford has had an amazing career against a lot of very good fighters and world-class fighters, and honestly has barely lost a round.
He drew attention to what was really important. He talked a lot about Crawford's achievements and how well he acted. It wasn't about being big or flashy, but about strength and grace. Paulie played a boxer who has quietly racked up one of the longest bodies of work in the sport. He stands out in the ring not only because he wins, but also because he rarely lets his opponents go the whole round. Paulie dug deeper and focused on the tactical parts. His criticism wasn't just about what Crawford did. It had to do with how well he did it.
Crawford really boxed very, very well, very, very intelligently. The question mark was what happens when Crawford gets hit cleanly. I'm not sure he got hit cleanly at the whole fight. He got hit with some partial shots. Some shots landed cleanly, but by the time Canelo started landing anything cleanly, I think he was hesitant because he was getting countered so much that he was taking some of the steam off the shots in order to hope to be more accurate. Because even late in the fight, there were a couple of shots that Canelo landed, but they barely moved Crawford. There were some good body shots Canelo was throwing, but Crawford started countering those very, very well. I think the key point started coming once after the first round. Crawford shifted a lot and moved a lot. I wanted to just kind of see where Canelo's power was at. He caught a couple of shots on the gloves, and I think there came a point in the first 1 or 2 rounds where Crawford said, this guy's not as strong as I thought. Because he started seeing Crawford hold his ground more and more. And he started seeing Crawford, you know, doing a lot of catching and shooting.
Every change and reply showed that the combatant was completely in charge. Paulie said that Crawford did a great job of timing and perfection to weaken Canelo's punches even when he tried to find openings. It was the smartest boxing match ever. From his point of view, it was clear that Crawford didn't just live. In the first round, he took it apart with smarts. Then Paulie talked about how sharp Crawford was and how Canelo's restlessness affected his game.
To do a lot of catching and shooting, you got to be willing to take the shot, even if you're going to block it. If a guy's a big puncher, even blocking it can be uncomfortable. And Crawford started getting comfortable catching and shooting, especially when Canelo tried to go to the body. Crawford was catching the shots and coming back with the counters. Sharp shots. Crawford never loaded up, but he was sharp the whole night. Sharp with the jab, sharp with the counters, some well-placed body shots as well. Canelo landed here and there. I thought Canelo got really frustrated. I felt that headbutt was a little bit more than accidental, to tell you the truth. When he cut Crawford, I thought that was a little bit more of frustration, because the headbutt may have been accidental, but then you saw Canelo kind of dig his head in Crawford's face. So I thought there was some frustration from Canelo's perspective, because he ran out of answers.
It was easy to see. Crawford showed that he could catch, shoot, and punish with precision. It wasn't force. It had to do with focus and timing. Paulie wrote about how Canelo, when he ran out of ideas, turned to rough methods that showed how broken he was inside. Crawford, on the other hand, kept his cool and used each situation to show everyone who was really in charge. Paulie told it like it was when he judged Canelo's character under pressure. The way he fell was honest, direct, and weighed heavily with reality.
Anytime Canelo has been down in his career, he has not shown an ability to both make an adjustment nor go for it and put his balls on the line. Not saying he's got no heart. Obviously, Canelo's been a very good fighter. I'm just saying there's a reason why the Mexican greats all have criticism for this guy. You know, Marquez, Morales, Barrera, and he's done disrespectful things to them, like not getting, like, block their credentials from his fights and things of that nature, not let them cover fights. This is what they're talking about, dude. Every time this guy is behind, every time this guy needs to put his balls on the line, he just cruises to a decision loss and is content to do it. And then afterwards says, Viva Mexico, cabrones, and his groupies just appease him and clap. These guys come from a different cloth. You know, the Mexican machismo of the old school greats in Mexican boxing is a different level. Not everyone is expected to live up to it, but the Mexican fighters themselves that did live up to it, they expect the new ones to live up to it. So when they don't, naturally they're going to express that. And of course, there's been some criticism from those kind of guys. And I'm not saying Canelo hasn't done some really good things, guys. It's not that. You can criticize a guy and still say he's been a good fighter and all this other stuff. But I think tonight, once again, showed his character.
There was a big change. Crawford made a big difference when it was needed the most. Canelo seemed happy to fade away, but Paulie's comments got to the heart of why Mexican heroes are often looked down upon. Canelo seemed happy to fade away, but Paulie's comments got to the heart of why Mexican heroes are often looked down upon. It wasn't meant to criticize Canelo's career. It was meant to show what makes greatness different from comfort. In the last take, Crawford's toughness shone through more, showing Canelo's flaws. In the last take, Crawford's toughness shone through more, showing Canelo's flaws. Then Big John Fisher spoke up, giving his opinion in a way that supporters like. Honestly, his comment was short but deep.
Boxing masterclass from Terence Crawford. Canelo tried everything, kept coming forward, kept throwing, but as soon as he got him where he wanted him, Terence just got out of trouble and was landing shots as he did it. Unbelievable.
Hestress that the night had only been fair for one side. Crawford did a lot more than win. He dealt with everything calmly and with skill. Big John's words summed up the difference between the two guys in the ring. It wasn't a matter of chance or luck. The level of skill was so high that it amazed him. Big John Fisher replied with another thought. This time, he talked about both guys with respect. His words showed respect and honesty at the same time.
I think there was a golfing class there, and I don't know whether Canelo will be able to gap that at his age in life. So, listen, two great warriors, two great champions. Honor to be here. Unbelievable.
He brought up the point that skill gaps can be too big to bridge sometimes. Canelo may have faced a tough issue due to his age and the fight's timing. But Big John didn't leave the fight alone. He told it like it was, two winners giving their all. From his perspective, He saw both the joy of Crawford's skill and the respect that should be shown to a boxer who lost. Then Johnny Fisher gave his opinion, pointing out the little things that were essential. It was clear from what Crawford said that his power was not just physical. It had to do with emotion.
I thought Crawford, every round he came out and started that round with the first 20-30 seconds and made an impression on the judges. And that not only makes an impression on the judges, it sets the tone to the other fighter. They end up in a psychological state where they think they've got to go and chase the rest of the round. And I just think, I was waiting for that turn, what Canelo does, round 6, round 7, to turn the tide of the fight, like he did against Billy Joe or Caleb Plant, but it never happened. And even though Crawford's two weight classes down from him, he didn't look like that. He looked like he was in complete control.
He talked about how Crawford set the tone for each round in the first few seconds. This early stamp of authority made Canelo want to fight someone he could never catch. Johnny said that the turning point never happened like it did in Canelo's other fights. Crawford ignored the disparity in size, focusing only on the next 2 steps. Dominance was hidden ace of beating. Control posed as ease of use. After that, Johnny Fisher made an even stronger statement. This time, he made Crawford's win stand out by writing about it in history books. His voice made me feel like I knew him.
I said that myself. I've never seen Canelo look that negative with his body language to round 9 to round 12. I've never seen anyone do that to Canelo, and Crawford's proved himself to be a generational great. He's put himself on that Mount Rushmore of boxing, and it's great to see. And you can actually hear the start of the fight, Canelo. By the end, you can hear Crawford coming from.
He pointed out something unusual. Canelo's body language appears poor, and his defeat is reflected in the scorecards. Nobody had ever witnessed such a collapse, and Crawford was the one who started it. Johnny's remarks elevated him to the ranks of the all-time greats, a generational fighter now immortalized on boxing's Mount Rushmore. From the first chants of Canelo's name to the final echoes of Crawford's, the shift in energy revealed the story of a new king. And then, never one to hold back, Bill Haney gave his unfiltered view on what had just happened. His statements sounded as if he saw Crawford's greatness as unavoidable.
Exactly. And you guys knew what was going to happen. You were in denial. That shit looked easier than Earl Spence. Did it look, huh?
It's a brilliant performance. Brilliant performance.
Man. Shout out to Team Crawford, Bo Mack, and that whole team, man. You know what I mean?
He expressed his observations simply and accurately. For Bill, this was more than just a victory. It was domination made to appear effortless. He thanked both Crawford and his squad, appreciating the planning that went into the performance. His reaction reflected both respect and realism, a nod to the greatness that had just happened. It was the type of breakdown that did not allow for conversation. Bill Haney followed up with a phrase that cemented his admiration for Crawford's standing in the sport. He said, "He deserves his place for sure." For sure. It was short, but the fact that it was so simple made it powerful. Sometimes the most important things to say don't need any more words. They are important in their ways. It was clear that Bill admired Crawford because he agreed that Crawford deserved to be one of the best. It wasn't hype. It was praise from someone who knows what great work looks like. In that single moment, he cemented the night as a piece of boxing history. Then Tim Bradley spoke up, looking at the situation with the eyes of a former winner. His words were backed up by the experience of someone who had been there.
A year out of the ring. I think it was like 13 some odd months out of the ring, okay?
Yeah, really?
Yeah. 2 weight classes. Think about that.
Yep.
He had surgery early at the beginning of the year. Surgery on shoulder surgery, right? Not sure which one. And to come in here and to put on that type of performance against Canelo that actually is coming off a performance, right? You expected Canelo to be sharp. He was sharp. However, what Crawford did was he took the air out of the ball.
Yep.
He used this. That's what boxing's about, people. It's about this. Strategy. That's what he had. He used his feet. He understood Canelo every single movement. That's why Canelo couldn't land any shots on him. He knew what was coming. He knew that the looping right hand was going to come from the southpaw position. So what did he do? Hold the phone. He knew that the hook to the body was going to come. What did he do? Block, and he shot him.
Talked about how Crawford's intelligence went beyond his sports skills. It was crazy. The fight turned into a game of chess that only one man could win by using strategy, timing, and preparation. It was amazing to see how well Tim could read Canelo and how well he knew subtle moves, footwork, and counters. The performance not only showed outstanding skill, but also a lot of knowledge about the ring. His take informed everyone that Crawford did more than just fight. He outthought, outclassed, and outperformed the legendary Canelo. Then Teddy Atlas came in and gave his usual mix of emotion and skill. His words go deeper than research. They outlined what makes Crawford so great.
His great assets that we don't hear about enough. One of those things that are not so easily as immeasurable on paper, but it's eyes, vision,
focus.
Yeah, we know the physical ones we talk about and we understand so easily. Speed, power, quickness, legs, all that stuff. But eyes, just radar. This guy's got infrared. I said it yesterday when I was doing a thing with Stephen A. They said, what's the biggest difference? I said, the biggest difference, remember the first time you were watching TV, regular TV, and the first time you saw 3D? You say, whoa,
yeah,
3D,
yeah.
Wow, that's different. That's better. That's this guy. He's 3D. The other guy's old-fashioned black and white TV. And I'm not knocking him. I know the Mexican fans. I love you guys, by the way. And here come the arrows.
You better duck.
I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying, Crawford's, like he said, he's a generational talent. He's better, he's different, not just because of athleticism, because of physical things.
He told everyone that belts aren't the only thing that makes someone a winner. It's about the spirit. Even though he lost, he carried himself with pride and purpose. There were no signs of stopping. There was only a determination to keep going. His determination took things above and beyond the battle. It was a look into how the warriors thought that made him famous. This night was a turning point in the history of fighting. Tedeschi Bud Crawford came into the ring as the loser because of his size, but he beat Canelo and cemented his place as one of the best. From beginning to end, it was a class in skill, patience, and intelligence, showing once more that greatness is measured by willpower rather than weight. What do you think? Was this the best match Crawford had ever had? Do you really think Crawford has become the undisputed pound-for-pound king of boxing? What do you think will happen in the second match? Please write your thoughts in the space below.